I can see familiar names. Hi, Chukube. We missed you in the last class. What happened? So, in the last class, if you remember, we talked about a whole lot of things. Welcome, everybody that's joining us for this first time. And then, if you've been here before, I hope you enjoy the continuity that we're going to have on this class. So, Chukube, remember we started this project, we started this portfolio for you. So I think the best thing for us to do now is to start afresh, to further include every other person, everybody that might be joining today for the first time, and people that are also continuing with us for better understanding. So please remember that we have the chat box for every and any question you have to ask. We don't mind how silly you think it sounds. In fact, the sillier the need you need to ask, like you have to ask us, because we all have to be silly together and find answers together. So that's why we are here, to serve you and to provide answers to problems together. So in our last class, we talked about UI, we explained UI, UX, we explained the need for learning UX, the need for learning UI, and then we further went into building a portfolio. So this is a portfolio we tried recreating the last time. This is a portfolio that we tried recreating the last time, but it happened that we couldn't because we were trying to include a whole lot of people. So for inclusivity and all, we're going to have to start fresh, because today is practical, and we have to be fast enough so that nobody will be left and we'll have time for questions and answers. So we'll be starting again. This time around, we'll be starting afresh, and I would love to like clear up everything we've done before to show us that it's something is doable. So always ask questions. Drop whatever questions you have in the chat box. We are ready for you. We are open to all of them, and we'll answer them respectfully. And if you can't hear me, thank you. So whenever we're working on a website, we have the header, we have the hero section, and then we have the body of the website, then proceeds to the footer. So this is for a desktop landing page, a desktop portfolio. So today we are working on a website, on a portfolio website for a hypothetical Ada, who is a front-end developer. So today we are going to find ways to build the landing page and then do a little bit of prototyping. So we'll see how it works and how things are connected from the designer's point of view before we hand off to the developers. So first thing first, I've explained what these are. No, so if we're starting this, we're going to use Adadoris, but for the sake of this session, we're going to be using Chekube because the design obviously is dedicated to Chekube. So Chekube being our logo, or Chekube being obviously our logo. This is the logo, and these are the header links. These are the links that take us to different pages, and this is called a button, or you can call them a CTA button, call to action buttons. So whenever you see buttons, whenever you see all these things, we call them buttons, call to action buttons, CTA buttons. They call you to take an action. So that's just what we mean by CTA buttons. So for this particular header, we have a logo. We have a logo here. We have header links, and we have a group of header links, and then we have a CTA button. So we're going to start, and then we're going to be using starting this by using the start Helvetica New as our font. Remember, we talked about choosing fonts in the last class. So the font that we're going to be using for this particular project is Helvetica New, and we're going to be starting with a base size of 16 pixels. Remember, we design in pixels. Projects are developed in REM. So now we'll start by writing projects. So for us to start, I don't know if anybody is joining me. Chekuba, are you joining us on this particular one?
Yes.
You type T on your keyboard. You type T, you drop it on the empty workspace, and then you start typing. Or type projects. Remember, we talked about auto layout. Auto layout is automatically allowing Figma to lay out, to make something a frame and have equal spacings around it. And how do we add auto layout? By either clicking Shift plus A on your keyboard to make it a frame, or you right click and go down to make it a frame. So let's undo. We have two options. You can right click and then add auto layout. It also makes it a frame. Now, if you go over to the auto layout section, you will notice that they have equal spacings around them. All are at 8 pixels. So this is the horizontal padding. That's the padding on the left and the right. Then this is the vertical padding. That's the spacing on the up and down. So we will just have to leave them at what we know. For this spacing, we have 8 pixel, 8 pixel, 8 pixel. So when you hear padding, it means the spacing between, the space between, or the space from a certain element. All designs, everything we are building now is called elements. Text are elements, colors are elements, all those things. So the space around an element is called padding. So the padding value here is 8 pixel. And we rename. Always remember that I said we should rename. Rename it what? Header link. Let's name it header link. And then we leave it there. So for the Chekube, for this we'll be using Chekube. So we'll type out Chekube by typing T again. Click it here. But now we'll not be using 16 pixel for the font size. We'll be using a bigger size. So let's just write out Chekube. Remember in the last class, we talked about the weight of a text. We talked about how heavy, the heaviness of a particular text. And what we mean is it regular, is it bold, is it medium, or is it very heavy, depending on what that typeface is used in the classification of the families. So for this one, we are going to be using bold, and then we increase this from 16 to 24 so that it will be as big as what we have here. So we have Chekube and we drop it on the side. So this particular one that we've actually designed, we need it in 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do? We duplicate by pressing Ctrl D. For those of us that are using Windows, you press Ctrl plus D. For those of us using Mac, you press Command D. Or when you click on it, when you right click on the element, you can also, I think there is a duplicate button. Okay, there's no duplicate button here. So let's just leave that Ctrl D. And then when you do Ctrl D, it just spaces it out for you. So you can just keep duplicating. We need 4 of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we duplicate 1, 2, need extra 2. So now we're going to implement what we call auto layout as we've learned. And how do we do that? We highlight all the header links that we've duplicated. Pressing Shift plus A, we group them all using auto layout. So we've grouped them all over here. And what do we call it? Links. Let's name them links. Let's just call them links. So we have Chekube, we have links. What next do we need? We need a CTA button. So first thing first, we type out what we have inside. And if you're looking at it, you will notice that it's not thin. It looks a bit heavier than the usual. So what do? We will also remember to make it heavier. So we press T on our keyboard. That's a shortcut for text. We drop it. We're going to be using body text, body size as well. You write download my resume. Download my resume. And whenever you're building a button, remember to make sure that it's very much visible. So for this, we have a darker color inside, and then the fill on the outside is white. So how do we get this? How do we make it a button? We also group it again with auto layout. So this text, we're going to add auto layout. We're using this method. So we add auto layout to it. We add auto layout. Remember, looking at this, it's not as heavy as what we have here. And the spacing, or should we say the padding on the left and the right, seems bigger than what we have here. So now we make adjustments. First, we rename. Let's call this CTA button. Call it CTA button. Next thing, we work on the heaviness of this text. Once you add auto layout to any element, it adjusts it. It gives it an equal padding around it. So you mean this, that's 183, right?
Yes.
It just adjusts it. This text obviously has a normal, it obviously has what? Its own width. So imagine 160, when you type out anything, no matter how long it is, it has like a length, it has like a width. So if you add 8 on the left, 8 on the right, it gives you the general padding, the general width, which is 183. Okay. So I was trying to show us how to change colors. So we change the color of this text. We go down to where we have fill. Fill is for colors. We go over there and we click on this. This is called the color picker. This very small sample color icon. All these are called icons. All these tiny stuffs are called icons. So you click on it. We go down here, we're trying to pick the exact color. Mind you, when you're working in a full design, you're supposed to have a set of design system that helps you make a consistent design. So for this particular one, we're going to be using the color picker because we do not have a design system. This is a masterclass. For the sake of this, we'll be using our color pickers very much in this particular design. So using the color picker, we pick this exact color, we pick it, and it's 000. Now we can fill our button. Now we can fill the CTA button because we need it to have a background of white. So have you seen that we are getting there? We're getting there. We're looking at what we are working with. You can see that we're getting there. So looking at this, there is something called corner radius or border radius. So our corner radius here is just the edges of whatever we are working with. This is a corner radius. You look at your laptop, the edge of your laptops, they are all your corner radiuses. Your phone, the edge of your phone is called the corner radius. For developers, they call it border radius. So in this aspect now, we need the corner radius to be soft. We don't want it to be as sharp as it is here because we are not designing an e-commerce. So we need it to be very, very soft. We are working on a personal design. We are working on a personal project that has to do with people. We're just working on a different project other than e-commerce. So what do? Looking at this now, it has a very soft corner radius. We go over to our own design. We click on the button that we want to adjust the corner radius. Come over to the right hand side where we have appearance. You go over here. This is the corner radius. You see, while hovering on whatever element you're on, whatever section you're on, you get to have a pop-up that tells you where it is. So here we are going to adjust our corner radius. Let's make it 4 to see how soft it is. It's still not as soft as what we have here. So let's make it 8 so that it should be a bit better. So now you can see that they are just close, but not yet the same. So now for the sake of this design, for the sake of this project, we're going to inspect. So for us to inspect, remember the Alt key, if you're using the Windows laptop, Alt key on your laptop allows you to inspect elements very, very well. So if I want to inspect the spacing around this, download my resume, I'll hold my Alt key, that is the Option key on your Mac, and then I would hover around it. I'll hover around the element. So now you can see that the spacing around this element is 16 pixels as opposed to 8 pixels that we have. So we come over to this side, we click on our button, go over to the horizontal padding, that is the padding on the left and the right, we make it 16. We go over to this padding on the top and bottom, we make it 16. Now we created what we have here. So I hope we are catching on with what we're doing. So moving over to the next, we need to make them all, group them all together. That way it becomes a header and not just group of text that are lying around. And how do we do that? I want us to always remember that auto layout is a grouping system that helps you group things with exact spacing around them. Figma helps you to automatically lay them. So that's why it's auto layout. We can group them by using Ctrl G. You can just press Command G and you won't be able to adjust it. You won't be able to make any adjustment. Like you can see that this one is above, this one is somewhere in between. Like you have to manually touch it and it won't be responsive, or even when you're trying to make them, prototype them. That's why we don't use Ctrl G. So we undo. We don't want a group. We want an auto layout. So what do? We highlight these 3 elements again. Using Shift plus A, we group it together. Now we have the auto layout section, which allows us to manipulate the design. So now this is aligned to the top. This is aligned to the top. If you click on the main frame that we've not renamed, you can see that the alignment is above. So the moment I adjust it now, you see it changes. I don't need to work on them one by one. So the next thing I will do is to rename it and call it what? Header. This is our header. We've not styled it. This is our header. We've not like added any beautifications to it, but these are the necessary things, the necessary elements we need for a header. So after that, we check over here. You can see that there is spacing here. There is padding on the left. There is padding on the right. And then there is padding above, bottom, and on top. So we have to check and inspect the paddings again. So we have what? We have 36 on the left, we have 36 on the right. Remember, I told you, whatever number that we start with, we become consistent with it. That is the beauty of designs. Whatever you started, you continuously use it. I can't go from using to implement a contingency plan. I hope it doesn't disappoint. Okay, so we've made some adjustments now. So we've been able to build our header, and now we are going to adjust the header in such a way that we have padding on the left, equal padding on the left, and equal padding on the right. So how do we do that? Go over to this auto layout section, come down to the horizontal padding and add 30 and add 36, 32 or 36, I think 36. Padding on the left and right. Okay, yeah, what we have is 36. And for the padding top and bottom, so that our design can float very well, let's leave it at 30. So now you can see that our padding has equal space on the top, above and below, and equal spacing on the left and the right. So the next thing we are going to do is to use our color picker and pick the color we have on this header that we are recreating. And how do we do that? We click on the header that we've recreated. We go over to the fill section. If you notice that once we fill, everything disappears. Why? Because the default color is white. So whenever you're designing with white, you should pay keen attention to that. So we click on this color picker, go over to this header, and we pick the color that we need. As you can see now, we have exactly what we need for our own project, which leads us to creating a frame. I'm sorry, we have to create a frame now instead of just bringing them all together so that we can be placing them immediately into the containers that we need them. Before we start, it's just that I don't know if the old people that in our last class, we explained how we started design. I don't know, I just jumped in to save our time and I forgot to reference that as well. You click F on your environment, on your empty space, click F to draw a certain design, a certain device that you need. And how do you do that? You click F, you click A, whatever alphabet you click between A and F, it gives you the same option. If you click the letter A or F on your keyboard, it gives you option of different devices that you're going to be working with. Our devices come in different sizes and different shapes. Some go from 1440 and above. Some go from, when I mean 1440, I mean 1440 pixels above. Some start from 1280 and above. While for smaller devices, that's iPads and smaller phones, you can get 375, you can get 380. So for this particular one, we are working with a desktop. So we're going to go over to the desktop section and we'll choose MacBook Air. So we're going to be designing with a MacBook Air. So you click on it and you get your MacBook Air. So this is what we're going to be placing all our elements, all our finished elements into. So this is going to be our final canvas. So we change the color from to further prepare this particular device, or should I call it frame. First thing first, we rename it. So I would love to name it Chekube's portfolio page. Chekube's portfolio. Base portfolio. Always rename your devices. After doing that, we add auto layout to it. Auto layout just helps you arrange things, yes. But for you to better have a well-arranged canvas, the first thing you're supposed to do is drag out your frame, choose whatever device that you want to work on. When you place it there, you go over to this right-hand side where you have layout. Over this first one, this is not the one you need. This is not the icon you need. Look at the icon that you need to add auto layout. You click on it. Remember, to add that same auto layout, you can also double click as well to add auto layout. So for the sake of this, we are going to use this icon so we know that there is also an option of an icon in case that you run out of options, you can't right click or something like that. So you always use this for auto layout as well. So if you click on this, if you notice the spacing between is 8. Matter of fact is width, that's the width that we're working with, 1280, and this is the height. Then this is the alignment. It shows that the design will be going from top to bottom, and this shows that the design will be going from left to right. That is from here. Whatever your placement will be going from left to right. Mind you, the design we are working on was stacked vertically. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put the direction in a vertical direction. The alignment should be in a vertical direction. This is what we want. We don't want it to go from left to right. Then the space in between, we don't want to add a space in between. We don't want the spaces to be in our sections. And then for the padding on the left and right, we don't need padding on the left and right. We put it to 0. Top to bottom, we put it to 0. We do not want any padding at all. So everything goes down to 0, 0, 0. So now we are done with this content. The most important thing whenever I mention auto layout that we have to implement before you take this and place it into this container is to remember that once this is, like, I want us to imagine water and a container. This is your water bottle, or this should be your bottle water, whatever we call it. And this is the water. See the header as water. So whenever you put this into this, you're like, fill up this Chekubase container with the header. Whenever you're doing that, always remember that first thing first, you check the spacing in between. If this space has a definite space, just like it has now, it may adjust, it will affect your design. So in this scenario, that in this particular case that we don't need a definite spacing, we go over to this spacing between. This is horizontal gap between objects. We click this drop down and put it to auto so that Figma can automatically space it. Because if you place it inside without adjusting it, it will not fill up it won't balance very well. And I'm going to show. So let me undo and duplicate, and I'll do the same so we can see what I mean. So for this first one, I'm going to change it from this to auto. For the second one, I'm going to leave it at that definite space. So I copy this, Control C for copying, then I place Control V. So like I said, we want the content, which is this header, which is water, to fill up this container, which is Chekubase portfolio. So what do? We click on the drop down on the width of our header. Click on this drop down here and you fill up the container. I'm sorry. So for this particular design, for this particular one, you'll notice that there is a big difference in the sense that it went to the left. And then we have a padding of 36, but you can see that there is a smaller spacing after this 36 padding.
Yes.
Thank you. So for this second one now, what we have here is we mentioned that this is the hero section. This is the header and this is the hero section. So if this is the hero section, it means that this is the hero text. So whenever you open a landing page, like if you go to our website now, www.studio3launchpad.com, the first text you see there is called the hero text, or the H1. For those of us that know HTML, it's called the H1. And this H1 is like the biggest text on your landing page. So it's supposed to be the biggest, it's going to be the one that drags the most attention, it's supposed to be the one that speaks what the company is all about. That tells us what Chekube does as a developer. So what we are going to do now is we're going to type it out. So for this particular hero section, we have header text. This is the H1. We have micro links that takes you to Chekube's Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter. Then we have CTA button. They were all grouped together using auto layout. Then after they were grouped together, we now finally group them all together with Chekube's picture, so that when you get to Chekube's website, you know that, okay, this is the Chekube that I may or may not employ or work with. Do you understand? Now, for what we are going to do now is the first thing first, we are going to type out this text. Hi, I am Chekube. I am a UI UX designer. So we type T. Remember, I said that our text is supposed to be very, very big because it's supposed to be the biggest. So we have a range. So we'll be using 48 pixels to be very big. It's going to be bigger than all, and it's supposed to be used once on every page. So you drop it. Let me move this from right to left so we see what I'm doing. We change it from 40 to 48. Then we start typing Chekube, a UX designer with 4 years work experience. So now this is a little bit about Chekube. The next thing we are going to do is Chekube's micro links that takes us to our social media account so that we can see what Chekube is about. If she posts her designs and all. And how do we do that? By using T as well. If you remember, you notice that those texts are smaller. So we'll be going with a smaller text size of 18 or 16. So let's go with 16 for continuity. And we type with Facebook. Now that we've typed Facebook, remember that this is underlined. Whenever we see anything that is underlined, we always know that it's a link. It shows us that it's a link. So this is an accessibility feature for those of us that see in black and white. So you don't need someone to tell you that whether it's a link or not because you see a line under it. So you go over to this place. This feature is called the settings. You click on it, come over to the underline, click underline. It shows us that it's a link. So now that we've gotten that, the next thing we'll do is to duplicate it, Control D, so it will be in 3 places. Duplicate it into 2 places, change the content. One can be Twitter, the other can be LinkedIn. Now we also group using auto layout. So we highlight the 3 of them, press Shift plus A, or we use this icon here. Remember, I told us that we can use this icon. You use this icon here, you click on it, it adds auto layout and it groups using auto layout. We change it to social media links, adjust the spacing between it at 20 pixel, the space up and down it at 20 or should we leave it at 8 pixel? Then the padding on the left and right, we leave it at 8 pixels so that our design can breathe and have space around them, which increases what? Clickability. We can be able to click without clicking the next one. So they need enough space around them. So we leave it on this side as well. So the next thing we need is what? This CTA button that we've already designed before. We go over to this place and we copy. Control C to copy, Control D, Control V to place. Control V here, we paste it here. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3 elements. So what do? We highlight the 3 elements and group them all using auto layout, Shift plus A. I used this one on my keyboard. So what am I going to label this one? Hero section content. Left hero section content. Yeah. Why? Because we have the image on the right. So for the sake of this design, we're going to copy this, Control C, place it here by pressing Control V, and this is what we have here. So always use your auto layout to do your grouping. So we click on the left, click on the right, which is the picture, to highlight all of them, and press what? Shift A, that's auto layout. We add auto layout to it and change these to hero section. In our last class, Chikube told us that she's a fan of pink, and we've not forgotten that because we always have. We have
I think
Chikube
this
now.
red right now.
Kina, you love this red. User needs are always prone to change, so always conduct your research. Just last week, Chikube liked pink. Now Chikube likes red. So that's why we have version 1 of Instagram, version 2, version 3, because the user needs are going to continuously change. So always conduct your research. This is a mini research that we just conducted now. So now we are working with the current Chikube who likes red. So Chikube likes red. And because we're going to paste it inside, remember that the padding on the left and the right is what? 36. So the padding on the left and right is going to be, padding on the left and right will be set towards 36 pixel. And with the new love for red that Chekube has, we are going to pick, we're going to go to the fill it. So we have this option of the color picker. We go over to this place and pick this new red that Chekube likes. It's a lighter red, but we can manage. So we copy and we paste it inside. So it's going to stack from top to bottom by pressing Ctrl V. So if you press Ctrl V, although it seems like it fits, now I'm going to show us another essence of a good, to us now, we might think, oh, it fits, it's perfect, but you'll see this space. But the essence of using auto layout and making everything to be automatically spaced is for fluidity. It fills up any screen that you want it to be. Like I mentioned, that we should imagine it as water. Water takes up any space of the container it's being filled into. So if you drag this from, no matter how far you want to drag it, you can see that one of them is fixed, while the other one is, should we say, jelly, fluid, or like it fits to the container that we are working with. While because the space in between is automatic. 2, because we filled the container. So if we click on this hero section, go over to the width and click on the drop down and fill the container, you can see that it fills up. So that is the essence of whenever you copy something and place it inside the container, never forget to go to the width and fill up the container with the content. So we are going to undo to go back to what we had before. And then we click on this and fill container. Now we finish with the header and we have the hero as well. So we're going to delete this. Well, another thing I wanted us to notice is you can see that the head is almost hitting the edge of the hero section, which is not really aesthetically pleasing because it looks somehow. So we'll click on this hero section, go over to the vertical padding and add maybe a padding of 30 pixel or a padding of 32. Let's make it a padding of 32. Now, if you notice, some of our designs are disappearing, but they are there, but they're disappearing. So it means that the height of this frame that we chose is fixed. So it can't contain any other thing that is longer in length than what it is. So you go over to the height, click on the drop down and click on hug content. So what it generally means is that whatever we put inside this will take the space. If you just keep adding space, it keeps getting longer as opposed to when it was fixed to a certain height. So now we go over to the second section. The second section contains, this is a subheader. It's supporting the header. It's not like, it's not a header. It's not going to be as big as the header. So this is the subheader, or should we call it subtitle, that explains the content of the next page. So we have a subheader, which is recent properties. We type it out. So what are they using for? This is size 32, medium. So we type T, click on this place, and we start typing recent projects. And if you look at this, you notice that it is also underlined. We click on this, still being highlighting on the text. We click on this icon shows settings wherever you see, whether for typography or anywhere. You click on it. We go over to the decoration and add underline to it. Close and go back to our design. So we've dropped this now. We are ready. When we need it, we're going to use it. So the next thing that we're going to work on is the cards. Mind you, in our last class, I tried showing us how to get the cards, but this time around, we're going to redo them. So this card is filled with image, text. This is a card. We call it a card. So the card is filled with one image. We have a card title. We have a body text. This is a body text. It contains the context of whatever you're working on. Then we have smaller buttons. They are all for description. And then we have an icon over here. So first thing first, we work on this right hand. We group it with this before we finally copy this button. So we're going to copy this button. And as you can see, when we talked about consistency means that we don't want anything to change. We don't want this to look different and this other one will look different. The only thing that looks different is this is a different design and this is another different design. But the cards are all shaped the same for consistency. So neatness, saying, oh, I love this design, is not just about the design itself. It's the fact that they followed a set of rules to achieve whatever you want, to achieve that uniformity and aesthetics that you want or you're seeing in a design. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start from top to bottom. We're going to borrow their image by pressing Command C or Control C, depending on what device we're using. Then the next thing we're going to work on is what's the content. Content being this as the card title. You type out the card title. The card titles are usually 20 pixel to 24. So let's check the icons at this size. So this is 20.77. So we type it out by pressing T, type it out, then 5 is even 20. So let's leave us for 20 pixel, which is medium as well. So the next thing we are going to group is the body text. So for the sake of speed and time, I'm going to duplicate this. When I duplicate it, I'll put it under it as well. Go over to the right hand side, change it from 20 to 16. Change it from medium to regular. Take a peek into my creative and problem solving side. Creative and problem solving side. Break it through my project. Break the text through my project. Then the next thing we are going to design are these tiny text, and we're going to check the size of this tiny text. Remember, this, you're supposed to have all these. If you have a fully designed system, if you have the world design system, all these come in different sizes. You set up all this, you may not be able to inspect a certain website except it's a fully published website. So in our class, when you enroll for our main class and all, you're going to learn how to design a full design system, learn how to design with uniformity, consistency in mind, and know that okay, this thing I'm doing is following a certain rule. So you don't think you can just see any random design and then you start inspecting, they'll come as images and you not have access to it. So when I mention design system, is going to be taught us in our classes when we enroll for our classes. So we are going to just be picking because this is an existing design already that we have in our own profile. So in our own Figma file. So we're going to inspect that one. I think we saw 12. So I'm going to duplicate this, change it to EdTech, highlight and change it to EdTech. Then I'll add auto layout to it, add auto layout with equal padding of, I think it should have 8 by 8, 888. When I mentioned that we have, if this, the auto layout turns this thing to frame, let's call this one label buttons because they are labeling each project. So if you click on it, we already know that this is now a little button after we've named it. We don't want to fill because it is not filled. Instead, it has a stroke around it and it's unfilled. So how do we add a stroke to our own text, to our own button? You click on the button itself, come down to under where you have the fill section, you see the stroke section. You click on the stroke section. Automatically, it comes with the default color is black, so we change it to white. So you can see that that's what we have here. And if you notice that one, it has a very soft corner radius. So we adjust our own corner radius as well. From 0, go to the appearance section. From 0, you add 4. You can see that it's almost the same, but not the same. So let's increase it to 8. So now we can see that so what I meant is the first one is squished together, and then the second one is so fixed that some of it are coming out. So what it means is that the width of this second section, the first section has an adjustable width, which is already filling up the container. The second one is fixed. Everything here is fixed. You can see the numbers here. How will you even know that it is not filled is once you fill it up, it goes from numbers to fill. You can see it here. You can see that it has stopped coming out. Then the second one, you also make it to fill. Now they are both equally, should I say equally yoked. So if you do the same for this one, let's fill it up. You do the same for this one. Let's fill it up. You can see that we can't find the spacing between. Both of them are just touching each other. So it's not just everywhere that you tend to use your auto. Whatever project, a certain project that you're working on determines where you apply auto and where you apply your definite spacing and what you want your website to look like. So for the sake of this project, what we will use is the spacing of 40 as opposed to the auto that we've been using. Let's leave it at 40. So now everything is equal and spaced together. And for aesthetic purpose and then for sake of our eyes, let's make the horizontal padding 40. So we have equal space, horizontal space, and equal vertical space. We copy this. The space in between is 125. Let's make it 80. 40 by 2. And then we add, over here we have a padding. In the hero section, we have a padding of 32. When we come over to this place, we're also going to have a padding of 32. Those are the tiny things that we are consistent with. So we add what? We fill it up, we fill the color, use the color picker and take this here. Or should we use black? Let's go with pink. We close this, copy this by pressing Ctrl C. You can press Ctrl X to cut it. Hold Chikube's profile, press Ctrl V to place it. Then when you place it inside, remember to go over to the auto layout section and fill the container. So as you can see, we are getting exactly what we are replicating on the left-hand side. Are we following? Are we on the same page? Do we understand? And if we do have a question, remember that we still have the chat box and we're going to look at it and answer our questions. Thank you. So we move over to the second section about Chekube, about her, where we have the subheader, we have an icon, we have the image of Chekube, we have about like a little profile of Chekube. Then we have tools that she's very prominent, that she's very good with. And then we have all of them grouped in together. Starting from left to right, we're going to borrow their image, copy, place it here. After borrowing their image, you can see this image is long, shorter here, but we're going to work with it like that. Then we have text on the right, where it talks about what Chekube does and all that. And then we have the tools that she's conversant with. So we're going to go over to the right hand side, T, to first give us about me. But for me, what I will do is I'll come over to this place where I have recent project. I'll copy it, I'll place it down here, paste it here, and I'll change it from recent projects to about me. Yeah. Then we'll go over to the next one where we are going to type out the text. We're going to type out what we need. We type out text, write about Chekube. What we have here is 32. So let's say I click outside to change this from 32 to 16. Then we'll go back to editing. So for the sake of this design, we're going to use AI to fill it up. So we're going to have AI rewrite this for us. Change this to a content of a UX designer with 3 years experience of highlights project skills, UX writing, and design system writes. Remember, they said that AI will not replace you as a designer or as a tech person, but someone that is using AI will replace you. So in our classes, not just will you be learning how to be a good designer, we're going to also learn how to use AI to get wonderful design and then to have ease in whatever you're working on. So for this one, we just adjusted it. Let's check our alignment to align our text to the left. So AI has helped us. So in a situation where you're working with someone who doesn't know how to use AI, you'll still be working, going back and forth. Meanwhile, you're already done. So we want it to be bigger. Let's ask AI to make it longer and make it very long. So you learn how to manipulate prompts. You learn how to not just manipulate prompts, we call it prompt engineering, in such a way that the same prompt that your friends might give their ChatGPT or their own AI will not be the same way what you would give. It gives you different results. So I hope we'll see each other in the next class because I'll be your humble tutor. So we click here. We're trying to align everything to go from left to right. You know, over here in this part of the world, please stop being to right. So whenever you're typing anything, you make sure everything you should see on this typography section over here on the left is aligned to the left as opposed to center aligning it, which confuses your user. Always leave it to the left because we are not UAE people read from right to left. Hebrews read from right to left, and we're not them. So always align your text to the left for readability so that your users will not be confused. Thank you. So now we just got content for Chekube as a UX designer with lots of experience. So as you can see, we have the same content here now, and this is for Chekube. Then we have tools that she uses. We can say Figma because all the tools here are for developers. So let's just copy Figma, just borrow this, and also borrow GitHub. Designers use GitHub. Come over here, replace it, and let's place it under. And group them using auto layout by pressing Shift plus A and label it tools. Remember, we have to type out tools I use. Type I use. If you look at this now, it seems heavier but not the same as this. It seems smaller but not the same as this. So we're going to borrow their size, which is font size 24, and it's a medium, which is also underlined. We click on these tools I use, go from 16 to 24. It's a medium. Make sure we leave it at underline. Thank you. Then we close it. Then first thing first, because we are talking about tools here, we have to group them together so that your users will not be confused. So this belongs to the tools. So we group them all together using auto layout. Pressing Shift plus A and adjusting the space in between to be 16, something smaller. So let's label it tools I use. After that, we're going to group this content with the tools that Chekube uses by pressing Shift A for auto layout. We label it what? Profile. Then after doing that, we group them together by highlighting both of them, the picture and the profile, and group them using auto layout by pressing Shift A. If you ask me, I would say that this text is too long and nobody likes big chunk of text. So let's just rename this to about me profile. You should learn how to rename your text from here to be easy for you and it should be easy for your developers. So I almost did something out of because I know I'm already used to doing that. So if you click on this now, you notice that it doesn't have the same length as the length on the right hand side. And also the one on the right hand side, that's where we have the profile, have a whole lot of space in between. So first we reduce it to 24 to get them together. So now they are both equal, but we wouldn't say that they are like that equal. So we click on this, go to the length, go to the width, and then we fill the container. We go to the height, we also fill the container, which means that it is hitting edge to edge. You come over to this section as well, which is the profile. You fill the container, come over to this place as well, you fill the container. So now everything is hitting edge to edge. We click on it and group them all with the subtitle by pressing what? Shift A. If you notice now, it is. So I don't know where we lost contact again because I'm tired at this point about this whole thing. So we're going to, let's undo the last. I don't know where I stopped with us, so let's undo. So before, I don't know where we lost me or anything, but before I did that, I talked about adjusting the spacing between it's in 322. So we're supposed to reduce it to a certain number. Mind you, we already have a header, a subtitle here with the main content. So we're going to click on this section and check the spacing between, which is spacing between of 40. And because of that, we'll come over here and make sure that the space in between this is going to be 40. And then remember that when we are also designing, we make sure that the space between from left to right was also what? 40. We go over to this place and make it 40 as well. So we take it from 95 and make it 40. Adjusting. And also remember that we have padding of 36 on the left and the right. So we add that. We're going to hug this so that it won't just look too big, and rename it from frame to about us, about me section. Then we copy or we cut. You can copy by pressing Ctrl C, or you can cut by pressing Ctrl X and place it inside by pressing Chekupe's portfolio, clicking Ctrl V or Command V, and we over here. We're going to do what? Fill. So if you notice, we have a problem here. The problem we have is that in the fill section, we didn't fill. So in a situation where you're still new to design, you might see this now and get confused that you don't know what you're doing, that once you paste it inside, it becomes white. It didn't become white. We just didn't add a fill. If you click on the one above it, it has a fill with this hex code, but the one below does not have a fill. So we click on it to add, we click on this plus sign to add a fill. Using our color picker, we go over here and pick this pink. Now we can see what we are doing. And then there is no padding on above and below. That's padding, vertical padding. We don't have padding on the top and bottom. That is why it looks like this about me is touching the edge of this section, unlike what we have here, which is 32 by 32. So we come over to the about me section and make it 32 for up and down. Do we have any question? Are we enjoying this process? Do we have any confusion? We are open to answering the questions now. Are we here with me? Oh, it seems Chekube is no longer with us. So if you have any question, we can drop now so we can answer them as well.
Thank you very much. I think there are other people in the class. There is Harrison, there is Abigail, there is Chiamaka, and I think Oyobuchi dropped. So hi Chiamaka, this is your first class. How was it for you? Do you have any questions so far?
Hi. So I think the class was amazing, even though I left a bunch of times to deal with something. For me, it's I have to go back and recap on the first class so I can catch up on the little places I had little confusions. Apart from that, I think Chinoe is doing a very good job. So kudos to her.
All right, that's fine. Thank you very much, Shamaka. We appreciate your feedback, and I understand that yeah, you're doing something else on your background, so you can always come back to the recordings. And at the same time, just last minute question or check. Are you on the WhatsApp group? Like, are you on the community group for your masterclass?
No, I'm not.
We have a group for the masterclass that has been going on, and that's like our community. So I think what I will do here is, can I send you my WhatsApp number, or I should still send you the link to fill in the form and you join the group? Which one do you prefer?
Any is fine. You can send your number, so I'll just pause you.
So I'll just send it directly to your DM here, share my call. So you can just send me a text and wait. On WhatsApp, so I'll just add you to the group. At the same time, you can fill in the form here, the URL, www.tinyurl.com/studio 3 and masterclass 1. So yeah, any of the